Today I'm going to show you how to remove the fence from this photo, which seems like an incredibly complicated thing to do unless you're a little more familiar with Photoshop. So let's give it a go. But before we dive in, let me tell you about our sponsor, Envato. Envato provides a massive collection of creative assets all in one place. No need to juggle multiple platforms. With millions of high-quality assets updated daily, everything you need is right here. Their simple subscription plan offers unlimited downloads with lifetime commercial licenses. With assets from a global community of artists, Envato ensures unique and authentic resources that give your projects a creative edge. Use the link in the description to get 30% off all plans. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is use our quick selection tool. And I'm going to hit B on the keyboard to make sure I have a brush here. And we're going to zoom in. I'm using the scroll wheel on my mouse and Alt to zoom in and out. And if I click once and I hold Shift and click, it'll draw a straight line for me. I am using a thumball mouse. If you're using something like a tablet, you could probably just freehand paint this a lot faster. You don't need to be super accurate. You do want to, not go over too much overlap onto the image below. But this is generally the technique you want to use. All right, so now the hard part is done. Now let's go back over and click our quick mask button again. And there we have a selection. Now we're going to hit Generative Fill, and I'm not going to type anything in and just hit Generate. But before I do that, let's discuss. So if there was something like a landscape or an animal or something behind this fence, generative AI would do a pretty dang good job of filling in those gaps, filling in where the fence is in a realistic manner. But with this image, we have a face with, we need to generate some of a hand, lips, eyes, nose, forehead, things that will be very obvious if they are wrong. So we're really putting Photoshop's generative AI to the test here. So all we can do is hit generate and see what happens. Okay, I'm going to undo that. That obviously didn't work, so I'm going to try a different technique since generative AI seems to be so hung up on the fence lines there. I'm actually going to go and hit Mask, and then I'm going to hover over the mask, hold Command or Control, and click on it, and it's going to select that. Let's try to make the selection a little bit larger and see what that does. So let's go to Select, Modify, Expand, and let's just make it, let's do 15 pixels. Generative Fill. Ah, there we go. Boom. Got it. Nice. All right. The next step is we need to get rid of the shadows on her face. So to do that, you could do this a couple different ways, but since we're kind of on a generative AI theme here, let's try using generative AI. So I'm going to copy both of those layers and go ahead and merge those. And we'll do quick mask again. Make sure our brush is selected with B on the keyboard. And I'm not going to worry too much about the top of the head. I'm just going to work on some of these lines here. The more obvious ones anyway. Now, you do have to be careful about how you use this, because if you're, generating too much, then, you could be changing the person's facial features, and then you'd have the question of, well, is that even the same person at some point, right? So we do want to be careful about that. Then we have a shadow right here. And that's all of the really obvious ones. You know what? Let's take care of this one too, I think. That one's fairly obvious. Okay, yep, that looks good. All right, we're going to deselect that again. Okay, now let's go ahead and do generative fill. Again, not going to enter a prompt. Wow. Yeah, that is not bad. There might be some weird... Yeah, there's a little bit of weird smoothing happening right here in some of the spots. It's a little bit blurry right there. But overall, dang, that's good. So, let's see. Let me disable this mask. So that is the original. And that's the final. That is so much easier than it used to be. Well, that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe. And I'll see you next time.